Hello, my beautiful moon children family, and welcome to our December chat. I'm really into the energy of December and what's been coming up thematically as I've gone through each of these discussions. And I always love coming to hang out with my Cancerian family. You all know that this is a really special place to me, an important part of my life, and an energy that is so valuable in our world. And December in general is going to be a time, one, as always, of healing, integration, understanding what we've just been through, and giving that experience the grace and the love and the reflection it deserves. We're coming to the end of Jupiter in Aquarius. It's moving into Pisces at the end of the month, which is going to be beautiful for Cancerians, highlighting your watery wisdom, highlighting our spiritual wisdom and our souls. We're coming to the end of the North Node in Gemini. It's not moving into Taurus until January. However, we're coming to the end of a year and a half of the moon nodes in specific signs of Gemini and Sagittarius. We're also beginning Venus retrograde in Capricorn, your opposing sign, on the 19th. And it's our final eclipse of eclipse season on December 4th in Sagittarius. So we're doing a lot of check-ins here with all of these energies. These are all kind of symbolic waypoints where we can check in with what it is. What have we learned during Jupiter in Aquarius? What has that felt like for each of us? What have we learned during this last year and a half with the moon nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius? And also, how are we doing with our spirits and our souls? I think something so important about this Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde in Capricorn is a really interesting combo. It's going to have to do with how safe we feel within ourselves and how much we're trusting ourselves in our internal relationships. Now, for you, this Venus retrograde is quite personal in the sense that it is in your opposing sign. And so it's kind of one of the more important energies happening in December for you. One of the areas you can maybe focus on a little bit more if all of this information is just a little overwhelming. And it is going to be a time of deepening relationships, clarifying relationships. And we're talking, one-on-one relationships, close relationships. It doesn't just have to be about romance. Venus is often kind of understood as this superficial and romantic and diplomatic energy. But to me, Venus is about the wisdom of deep love and trust and developing from a place of depth. And when she goes retrograde, this is a really wonderful time to activate our own inner Venusian language of caring and love for ourselves as well as others. This can be a really great place if you are looking for breakthroughs in your relationships to deepen them and to warm them up. Now, of course, this could also be a time where if you have relationships that have not been supporting your beautiful Cancerian heart and journey, or have felt a little bit out of sync or just not working for you, right? That aren't harmonizing for you. This can also be a time where you can feel release around those. And that often sounds so scary, because relationships changing is vulnerable, but it doesn't necessarily have to be dramatic. It's just something to kind of remember to work with this energy and let it help you and guide you from that place of deep self-trust, from that place of deep self-respect and value, and just listening to your intuitive guidance system, that beautiful gift that Cancerians have in droves. You all are so wise when it comes to just knowing, having that deep knowing. And the other message that I wanted to bring up before we get into shuffling the cards here is you're allowed to keep it simple in December. I just threw a lot at you. There's going to be an eclipse, there's going to be a Venus retrograde, there's the solstice, the Jupiter's moving, Chiron and Neptune are going direct this month. There's a lot of things happening, but that doesn't mean this needs to be a complex, messy, chaotic month whatsoever. I think it's important, actually, especially as we move through Sag season for Cancerians, and then even into Capricorn season, to take a look around, assess, and really just keep your routines and your plate the plate that you stacked up with whatever activities or items on your to-do list simple. Keep it really focused on what is really working for you and what's really feeling right for you. I think that's so important. Wheel of Fortune. I love it. A little shifting of the gears going on. And it's true. December and January are a time where we are really working with, each and every one of us is going to have had some themes that we've been working with, right? For the last year or two. We're shifting. The themes are changing. The emphases are changing. The way that we are exploring ourselves is changing. And so there is a different flavor starting to percolate into the atmosphere in December, which is why it's so important to, one, integrate what it is we've learned, give ourselves some time for that, allow the grief and the overwhelm and all of those emotions to be compassionately witnessed, and to get curious about what's trying to come in. These two things really need space and time this month, so make sure you're giving yourself that. Six of Wands, I love it. Yes. Okay, I'm pulling 2 cards from that deck, and then I'm going to pull 1 card from my Oracle of the Hidden Worlds deck. That's a really great way to add in a little bit of a different energy to our readings. Let's see what wants to come up. The Relics of Lemuria. This card came up for somebody else too. I can't remember who. Very esoteric wisdom going on there. Okay, so let's talk about these cards and how to work with all this energy going on in December. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, and you know, this is the number 10 in the Major Arcana series. It's a card that has to do with completion and beginnings. And it's a transitional phase. So it's about, there are certain things that are just closing up, finishing up, a cycle finishing, understanding what that's been. And it's also about what's trying to come in. So there is very much with Cancerian energy this month, a sense that there are endings and beginnings. There is culmination and there is opening up. And I do think that this process of the wheel turning, the seasons turning, it is a solstice month as well. As we enter Capricorn season, a couple days after Venus goes retrograde, we have our solstice and the beginning of Capricorn season. It's important to remember that it takes energy to, one, culminate things, and two, to open your heart to it. So give yourself the space, if you can, to honor that that's going on, because we often think this is a non-activity. It's like something extra or on the side or something that we're going to do exterior to the rest of our lives and actually making accomplishments or whatever. But this is actually the stuff of existing. So I just want to make sure you're giving yourself that time. I think Wheel of Fortune for me also, it brings to mind like clarity coming through on a longer process, getting the answers you need, the information you need that you've been maybe waiting for a little while. So I really love to see that. And we have Six of Wands following that right up, which is the card of triumph. It always makes me think, you know, in the traditional tarot, we obviously have kind of the Caesar type guy riding out of battle, victorious, which not my favorite imagery in some ways. But I think for me, what I think about is when we've gone through a dark wood or a big fog or a complex thing, and we kind of realize that we've just come out and we can like see where we've come to. Like the Six of Wands for me is about coming out on the other side of something and really understanding what it is we have gained and where it is that we are headed next. So in general, there is a very much a forward-looking energy going on here with these cards, and about this next cycle wanting to begin and get jump started. So just remember to rest in between all of the processing. Now, interestingly enough, the Relics of Lemuria from the Oracle of the Hidden Worlds, this is such a esoteric, soulful deck. Takes us to some interesting places. The subtitle here is Fragments, Memory, and Reclaiming. And obviously Lemuria, there's a lot of people that connect with that energy and have reclaimed memories of that. And I think it's not so much about the specific place and the specific identity and all of that. I think Cancer, this is about remembering who you truly are and whatever that is. I mean, This is not about fitting into a box or, you know, fitting into a storyline. It's about remembering like the beauty of your spirit, remembering the beauty of what you have to bring to the world, remembering what it is that you really want to be doing here with your days, and being really kind and loving. I think also this card, it speaks to creating the space to do some remembering and to do some reconnecting with your spirit and your soul in this process, because Wheel of Fortune and Six of Wands in so many ways are about like external things happening, getting those phone calls, getting those conversations going, getting those clarifiers happening, getting things closed out and started up. And that's great. We love a good, you know, action, expression, clarifier. Yes, of course. But I think it's important to remember in this process too that overall, what's most important is that you feel that you are at home with yourself and that you're connected in with that. So it's just a reminder too, to kind of go to those more esoteric realms in yourself, listen to your intuition, let it guide you. Remember to make space for that, and that it's valid to use those energies. It's valid to go to those places. It's valid to take the time to do that. So take the time for your meditations or your long walks or your journaling or however you like to connect with your intuitive wisdom. Make the time to do so this month. It's so important to be tapped into that for everyone. And I think especially for you all. I think sometimes, funnily enough, when life starts to work with us a little bit more, that's right when we will sometimes leave behind those tools that help our nervous systems and help us remember our souls and remember what we're connected to and how we're here. And that's right when we probably need it the most. So it's just a reminder too, if there are a lot of exciting things happen, to just give a little space for your Cancerian soul to like connect. And I'm sure you're not going to fight that too much. Just a reminder. Pretty clear and direct messages for Cancer this month, which I have no problem with. That sounds so good to me. Okay, so I have a little blessing to send your way for this December, this very soulful, very spiritual December. Here we go. As we close out this powerful year, may the love surrounding you deepen and open up. May your deepest heart's desires start to be born and glimmer in the world around you. May the answers you have been waiting for arrive and clarify. And finally, may the world surprise you with joys you had nearly forgotten existed. But in remembering, your heart lights right back up. I think it's one of the greatest joys in life when something beautiful does happen in life. That beautiful afternoon with a friend, or that beautiful experience of like witnessing some art or whatever it is. It's like you haven't had it for a while, and then when you experience it again, you're like, oh my God, I remember why being a human and doing all these things is so beautiful and so valuable, and there's just nothing like it. And I hope that there are so many moments like that in December for each of you. And no matter how you connect with December, because I know it's a month that for some, it's just the hardest time of year. I just want to get through it. And for some, it's a very joyful time. Wherever you are, that's totally valid. I want this December to be safe for us. I want us to feel that we can be safe in it, that we don't need to be constantly worrying about catastrophes or fears, and that we can just do our process the way that feels best for us and know that that is valid and beautiful. So that's what I really wish for all of us. I have been feeling really great over on Patreon. That's where I feel like I can be a little bit more personal, talk about some of the stuff coming up in my life and my own process. It's just a very kindred spirit community. So if you want more guidance, because I'm going to be doing deep dives on Venus retrograde, on the North Node changing into Taurus, on all the energy shifting around, Jupiter moving into Pisces as we move into 2022, I'd love to see you there. We hang out every single week and do some really great stuff. You can also find me on my Instagram and my website. So I'd love to see you in all of those places, and I will leave those links below so you know where I'm hanging out. And I love you all so much. I will see you so soon. Have a beautiful December, my beautiful Cancer friends.